a moment. All the panelists have to say yes. All right, looks like we've got it. So again, this is our question about everything COVID, as well as any other questions that you have right now. I neglected to record the lovely welcoming statements, but we're going to go ahead and start with recording the meat of the session. All right, Shane or Joe, what is our first question? Oh, wait, before you say that, talk about how students can turn questions in, just to remind them to make sure that they know how.
Sorry, wrong buttons. Hi, everyone. My name is Shane Franz, and I'm the Associate Director of Student Development. As Dr. Bayless said, we will be here helping you in regards to trying to get your answers to your questions in regards to COVID and safety protocols on campus. As of right now, we don't have any. However, but I think what would be a great question that I could probably send out to everybody is, what type of protocols do we as a university have in regards to the safety? What types of cleaning activities and stuff will we be doing? So that should be able to get us going, and hopefully we'll have more questions coming in very soon.
All right, well, I can start us off on that respect then. So over the summer, we've been following the guidance that's come from the CDC and from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts regarding cleaning and preparation of the different facilities on our campus. For those of you that are in the residence halls, we are managing a 7-day-a-week cleaning for our residence halls, and that includes a schedule of cleaning and disinfecting. So those, the days when those activities will take place will be communicated to you through the housing office, and we'll be scheduling those times each day to come through, and it, depending on what building you're in and what side of the building you're in. But we have obviously also equipped residence halls and other spaces on campus with additional cleaning product, so that students have the ability to take an extra swipe at the space. So between uses, if they also want to do that to help supplement or provide additional level of comfort for their own cleaning in terms of things. In the classrooms, we will be cleaning those spaces as well as common areas, restrooms also on a daily basis, and then in addition doing additional disinfecting, including our high touch surfaces, so doorknobs and stair railings and light switches and things like that. Again, in those places you're going to find the same kind of cleaning chemical and cleaning supplies. So if you get into a classroom and you want to do so, first thing you can do is you can actually spray down the work surface that you're going to be in. And or if you're in one of our kind of lounge areas, those spaces will also be supplied with that. We've also done some other steps to help folks navigate kind of COVID times on campus, which includes identifying what is the appropriate occupancy for those spaces. So in most cases, when you go into either a classroom or a lounge or another kind of common area, you'll typically see a sign that'll indicate how many folks can be in that space at any one time. And those are based on the social distance guidelines that have been promulgated by the Commonwealth. So be sure to take a look at that. If you find that a room looks like it's got too many folks in it, then there are lots of other hideouts and places to hang out on campus. And so I encourage you to take advantage of those. And of course, obviously, we're asking, and folks can repeat this, obviously, when you're in the buildings and you're in your classrooms, if you should be planning to wear your mask and have that with you pretty much at all times, so that if you need to, you are able to put that on at any time. So even when you're outside on campus, you want to keep that mask with you. I think that gets a good start, but hopefully we'll go from there.
Hello, everyone. Reminder, my name is Joe Flanagan from Student Development. Just a reminder on how you can submit questions in the schedule that you're provided for orientation. There is a live link to the Q&A form, so keep the questions coming. We have received our first question. What are the guidelines about having guests in each other's rooms, hanging out in lounge areas, etc.?
Great question. First, I want to add just a little bit, an additional piece of information to what Ms. Mary Beth spoke to about the cleaning in the residence halls. Also, we're asking our residents in the traditional and the suite bathrooms not to keep personal items in the bathroom. Bring them with you and then take them out back to your room. That allows for our team members in facilities to be able to clean the spaces appropriately. So please help us support that initiative. No personal items in the bathrooms in our traditional and suite areas. Going to about guests and so forth. First, there are no guests allowed into the building. So only the residents who are assigned to their respective residence halls should be entering. There are no overnight guests for this fall. And in regards to engaging in your assigned spaces, it should be by your family unit. So basically, if you can use the same restroom as another student on your floor or in your suite or apartment, then that means that you can also visit with each other in the hall. In any particular bedroom, there should be no more than 2 people in that bedroom at any particular time. When it comes to communal spaces in the building, like Ms. Mary Beth spoke of the maximum occupancies and so forth, that is also present in the residence halls. So you will find those signages in your kitchen area, in your TV lounges, in the sitting areas, etc. You will find those signages. We ask that you abide by those numbers. Keep in mind that when you are in the out of your assigned spaces in the residence halls, your face coverings should be on. Okay, so just keep that in mind. When utilizing the kitchen, you can bring down your cooking utensils with you to cook. We ask that you wash them and then return them immediately back to your room. Cooking utensils, etc., should not be stored in your common area kitchens in the residence hall. And our refrigerators for the fall will be offline. So we ask that you refrigerate all personal items in your room. If you ever have any questions about your communal areas and so forth, please speak to your RA or your building supervisor and they can help guide you.
Have any other questions come in yet? All right, I have one for the Office of Student Development folks. So how can new students meet each other when, the orientation is virtual and there's no visiting like that in the residence halls? We're not organizing activities in the same way. How can students get connected with each other and with the institution?
I think I can feel that. Again, hi everybody. I'm Shane Franzen. I'm the Associate Director of Student Development here, and I oversee our commuters and our volunteer programs, but I'm also in charge of what we call Rock the Block. This year we're doing more of a virtual Rock the Block, and what it is it used to be a huge fair that we would have out on the quad, but because we are in the circumstances that we're into, what we will be doing is we will be having a virtual Rock the Block. We're going to do it 2 different ways. The first way is that our clubs and organizations on campus have sent us Google Forms that we will then send out to all of you. And in those forms, they just want your name, your email address, so they can be in contact with you. So if you're into geology, you're into our fraternities or sororities, you want to find out information in regards to Student Government Association, this is the way to do it. The second way that we'll be doing it is on next Tuesday at 3:30, we will be having literally a virtual Rock the Block, where you'll be able to sign in and talk to the students from FAB, which is our Fitchburg Activities Board, or our Greek organizations, or any of those organizations that you are really interested in. remember, we have 85 clubs and organizations on our campus, and we want you to utilize them because it's a great way for you to meet new people, to stay busy on campus. So again, that's the way to do it. We've got our Black Student Union, we've got our Latin American Student Organization, we've got our Gay Straight Alliance. We can go on and on and on, and it would probably take me the rest of the day in order to talk about them. But those are some really interesting ways, and again, we're trying to do this differently here, but we think that we've got this really under control in regards to still keeping you involved. Our Fitchburg Activities Board will be doing virtual events. In fact, all of our clubs and organizations will be doing virtual events. So stay on top of your email, because that's where all the links will be coming through, whether it be virtual bingo or a virtual hypnotist. Who knows? Maybe we'll even have a virtual dance party for you. But that's how we're going to keep you busy, and that's how we're going to keep you going. So watch for that information. It'll be coming out probably by the end of this week, so that you can start figuring out where you want to go in keeping busy on our campus.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions come through yet? No? All right, then I'm going to toss one over to the provost. Oh, it looks like you have something you want to address.
Well, I was going to just talk a little bit about what we've tried to do this semester to keep our campus safe and keep you safe, while also giving you a great academic experience. So usually all your classes would have been in person, your labs, your lectures, and each of those would have been at different sizes and different classrooms, and they would have all been more likely than not met at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, and in some of your departments it would be once a week for a 3-hour course. But because of the current pandemic and the way that the COVID-19 spreads, we have had to de-densify the campus, which means that we want to have fewer students in the classroom, in the hallways, in each building than we usually would have. So what we've done is we've made about a little bit over than half of our courses are online or on sync. Online means that you can do the course at work at any time. We call that asynchronous. In other words, you can watch the lecture at your time, and then the faculty member will give you assignments. On sync means that you have to be online at the time that it says in your schedule, because the faculty member will give live lectures or live presentations. And then we have hybrid A, B, C, and then a general hybrid. And we hybrid A means that the whole class will meet 1 day a week if you have a 2-day period. So for instance, if your class is Mondays and Wednesdays, you would meet on Monday as the whole group, and your faculty will provide you your materials there. And then on Wednesday, it would be remote. And that could your faculty member will tell you whether that will be live or not live. Hybrid B, it splits the class and means that half the class would come on Monday and then half the class would come in on Wednesday. Again, that means that we can then have fewer students in the classroom and therefore minimize the risk of spreading the pandemic. The hybrid C is the same idea, half, but instead of every other day, you're 1 week you're in class, and the next week you're complete remote. So it switches a little bit. And then there are other hybrids out there that have different schedules, and that's your faculty should have been in touch with you already, letting you know when to come to class or explaining to you how it's going to work to make sure that things are you're okay. If you still haven't received that and you're concerned, you can email your faculty member either through Blackboard or through the general Gmail account, and you just go into the web and look for your staff and faculty directory and look for that faculty member and send them just a quick question of so that they can explain it to you. But classes Classrooms will also have changed, because then we've had to go from to make sure that so your classrooms, once you come into your classrooms, not only are you going to be expected, and it's a requirement for you to wear your masks, you also have to sit 6 feet apart from any other member of your colleagues that are there in class. Shane, I guess there's a question that says, are there ways to change your classes from on-sync to hybrid? There is. The drop add period will be pushed back, and we will send that announcement soon. However, the reality, you can do that yourself. You should have received instructions how to do that. However, we always recommend that you speak to the registrar, or preferably your advisor in your department before doing that, so that we know that you're going into a course that is going to be helpful and keep you in your academic progress. You should have meetings sent out to you from your departments for this Thursday, first day of class, so that you can meet with your chair or your advisors, and those may be good times also to ask those questions if you feel like you still would like to change your class.
It just occurred to me from just from a logistical standpoint that in previous times when we've streamed, it occurs to me that the people who are streaming in are not able to see the chat.
Great.
So we should not put public things in there. It just occurred to me. So let me highlight for specific questions that you have. You should email housing@fitchburgstate.edu, or you should email studentaffairs@fitchburgstate.edu. Is academic affairs the email that you would like, Alberto? academicaffairs@fitchburgstate.edu? You're muted.
Provost, Provost @fitchburgstate.edu.
All right. Mary Beth, why don't I take all of the logistical questions, and if I can't answer them, I will get them to you. So provost@fitchburgstate.edu, housing@fitchburgstate.edu, or studentaffairs@fitchburgstate.edu for any specific questions that you have. Anything else come in yet?
No, but I can let you know I have had a few questions that have come through me in regards to our commuter population. Our commuters have asked me recently in regards to, they may have a class that runs from, say, like 9 to 10:15, which is online. And then they may have a class that's on campus in regards, say, at 10:30. The question is what are they to do? Our suggestion to you is to come to campus. We do have quite a few spaces that we have dedicated for you to still have those online classes, so that you can then have that 15 to 20 minutes to walk to your in-person class. The library, all 4 floors, will be open for you to find a corner, to find a couch, a study carrel, whatever you want. We have spaces in the Hammond building. We have the hub. We've got other locations which we like to call relaxation stations, which are basically lounges throughout the campus that you'll be able to sit, with your headphones on and your earplugs in, so that you can listen to your class, and that way you won't be late to your class that you have in person. So that is some things that we have thought about. We have tried to make those changes and stuff for you. And for our commuters, I'm going to let you know, you're going to want to get here a little early. Parking, probably in the 20 years that I've been here, probably this year may be the less stressful year, because we do have so many classes that are going online. However, you're still going to have to plan for weather. You're still going to have to plan for traffic. You're still going to have to plan for some of those things. So, but again, plan 15, 20 minutes in advance. We will have the shuttle system that will be bringing you back and forth from the Civic Center and back. But again, like I said, we have thought about this, and we wanted to make sure that you knew that we do have these relaxation stations and locations throughout campus, so that you can still have those online classes and then be here on campus for your in-person classes.
Excellent. Thank you, Shane. And wanted to let everybody know that I got a note from a student who says, I'm not sure if I'm the only one this is happening to, but I'm submitting questions and I don't think they're going through. Just wanted to let you know. So double check can you all say the form again, or how they find the link? And then I wonder what's going on with that. I'm not sure. OSD, any ideas?
Let me take a quick look at some of the other forms to make sure they're not being accidentally submitted to some of the other forms that have been provided. Give me one moment.
Dr. Laura, if I can, I would like to comment on parking permit distribution, because for our commuters population especially, I would want them to know where to go to come and get those parking permits, and supporting the communication from Mr. Shane about, getting here early for your classes, et cetera. Especially for our commuters, at the beginning of the school year, the lines can be long sometimes picking up the parking permits. And so we are definitely structured this year to help eliminate that, which is actually providing even better customer service, but also keeping us within the guidelines of social distancing. You're able to pick up your parking permit today and tomorrow down at the lower Civic Center, the lower level Civic Center parking lot. On Thursday and Friday, you're able to pick up your parking permit from the Student Recreation Center. Okay, so today and tomorrow, Civic Center, lower level. Thursday and Friday, the Student Recreation Center. There was an email communication that was also sent out with this information too. Starting next Monday, September the 7th, well, after, because that's a holiday, but after starting next week on that Tuesday, we will start having parking permit distribution for our commuter students here in Abishon. There will be signage to direct you to the appropriate door. But I just want to make sure that our students, and specifically our commuter students, know where to go to pick up your parking permit for this week. So just want to make sure you have that information. If you have any questions, though, about your parking permit, being able to enter into the portal to request the permit, you can always send those questions to parking services at fitchburgstate.edu. Thank you.
I see there's a question about if an orientee had asked a question if they are not comfortable coming to campus for an in-person class. And as I think I mentioned earlier, students can drop and add courses up until September 17th this year. The calendar currently just says September 10th, but we did get approval to push the drop period to drop date to September 17th. Up until then, you can switch your courses. And if you want to take, if you rather not, you have a hybrid class that you rather not take and just go completely remote, you can do that. You can find a course. But again, my strong recommendation is that you speak to your advisor, reach out to your department, and ask what course you could do that is also online, that will help you stay on course to graduate.
One question came in was, are we only allowed on campus when we have a class because of COVID?
No, you can come on campus at other times, but just follow all of the social distancing guidelines, the room occupancy guidelines, wear your face coverings, all of that. But yes, you're allowed to be on campus for class periods and other times.
Here's another question for you. If our Web 4 schedule, it says classes without meeting times, how do we know when, if, and where those classes will be?
I would suggest that you would you go, and I can post it on this chat. Go to the your seats list, which is on the web. Because all courses should have a meeting place. The only courses that may not have a meeting place are courses. First-time students should not have those courses. Those tend to be clinical rotations if you're in a health field, or a practicum if you're an education student, or an internship. But those tend to be courses that you take as upperclassmen. So if it does not say a time and a room, and or if it's online or on sync, then your schedule may have cut off somehow. But I would suggest going to the seats list, and I will post the website right now.
Alberto, actually say what the website is or tell people how to get there because they can't see the chat. Okay,
give me a sec to look it up.
Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna ask you a question too. Do the asynchronous online classes say class doesn't have a location or whatever Shane read? Because that could be it as well, maybe, but I don't know. You know more about how it's presented than I do.
Sure. So if it's an on-sync or an online course, and I'm looking up at it right now, it should just say on-sync or online, and then it should have your time of the class, the date, the time, and say on-sync or online. Because we did keep the times in there for online so that you set your time and organize yourself to use that time to do the work. But other than that, I don't. We should not have any that should be blank. So let me. If you go to if you just go to Web 4, there is a link that is seats list that you can then use to look at the schedule in a slightly different way. It looks at all the schedule, all the classes, and all you do is you search for this course that you are needing. So if you go to Web 4, log on to Web 4, the second link says class schedule. And if you click on that, then it'll give you a drop down. You say you want to know fall of 2020, and you can search it by your subject or the title of the course, and it'll tell you what the schedule should be.
Okay, another question that came in was what consideration has been given to HVAC airflow and fresh air inside classrooms, library, etc., and other areas to minimize COVID transmission?
Sure, that's me. What we've done is follow the guidance of ASHRAE, which is an organization that deals with heating, ventilation, and refrigeration systems engineers for guidance related to HVAC operations. And we've followed those back to school guidelines that talk about, improving or changing out our air filtration if possible. So we have buildings that are a variety of ages, from our most recent newly constructed building, which is our science center, to buildings that have been on campus for more than 100 years. So where we have our most recent systems, we've upgraded to what they call MERV 13 air filters. But depending on our buildings and the type of systems, we've done some other things too. So if we aren't able to put those, the highest rated air filtration system in, what we're doing is changing out the filters more frequently. We've also been obviously keeping up with our routine maintenance related to the HVAC system so that all systems are in good order and functioning properly. We've checked to make sure that the air returns are operating correctly, even going through every single bathroom and every single residence hall to make sure that the exhaust systems are working well. We've also increasing the amount of outside air that we're bringing in to our HVAC systems in the buildings. It makes it a little more difficult to control temperature sometimes, so it may feel either a little warmer or a little cooler, so bring your layers. But that also helps increase airflow in the building and provide that more of that fresh air. Obviously, many of our buildings also actually have operable windows, and I certainly encourage folks to keep those windows open and get comfortable in that way as well. So even more reason for that, the layering. But yes, we have been monitoring that, and also obviously the density and de-densification that we've done through our classrooms and facilities also reduce the demand on our HVAC systems as well. So all of those things are designed to help reduce risk of transmission.
Mary Beth, I have one other quick question for you in regards to the bookstore. The question is in regards to how will the flow of the bookstore be handled with the amount of students that are going to be coming in and guests coming in to buy books and stuff?
So similar to other places on campus, there will be a limited number of people that can be in the store at any one given time. And my strongest recommendation is to our students that all of your bookstore purchases can be made online. So that essentially you can go onto the bookstore site, select your materials. You'll have the option, if there are both, to pick new versus used, or you can also identify if you want to use rentals on your bookstore materials. You can check out if you have financial aid dollars that are being applied towards your course materials purchase. Those can also be used online, and you can complete the whole transaction remotely. And then they have a pickup window, and you don't actually have to go into the store in order to go to the pickup window to pick up your books and materials. So I am encouraging all our students to take advantage of that online shopping so that we can continue to keep our social distancing and minimize the congestion in the store. So there's no need to wait. Go ahead and get those books ordered. Go ahead and get those books picked up and be ready for your classes starting on Thursday.
Okay, next question. This one is about what testing will look like after this first initial round of testing at the rec center, and do I need to stay home until I find out my results?
I'll go. So let me start with, do I need to stay home until you find out your results? And the answer to that is no, unless you are traveling from one of several states outside, for the most part, New England. Unfortunately, that does include Rhode Island right now, that are required to quarantine. If you're traveling from one of those states, you do need to stay home, or you can come to our campus if you're a resident student, and we will put you into a quarantine space and so that you can stay until you get your results. Otherwise, you can be on campus, and again, this is more of a monitoring and activity, so that we can kind of confirm the health of our community and make sure that we aren't seeing something happening in our residence hall and on-campus community that might be different than what we're seeing in the general population in the Commonwealth. Obviously, and just a reminder and a plug, especially for those commuter students that are out there, if you haven't already done so, it's not too late to make an appointment for your COVID test. There's plenty of time today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday to come in and get your test. So don't think you missed out. It's still available. And that is the full testing for everyone on campus. So our faculty, our staff, even folks that work in our bookstore and in our food service have also all been invited to participate in our testing program. And we strongly encourage everyone to get that test completed. It's a very simple test. It only takes a couple of minutes. And it's just right at the tip of your nose. It doesn't have to go all the way back to your sinuses. So it's not painful and it's not hard. After this week, we will be then going to a randomized sample selection of students, faculty, and staff to participate in testing. And we will be sending out an email notification if you've been selected, inviting you to sign up for a time for that testing. And that testing will take place in Miller Hall, in the Miller Oval, and there'll be signage there. And you'll actually be working with your fellow nursing students who will be helping out with the testing process on the weekly basis. For those of you that haven't already gotten your results, if you've done your testing, results are typically turning around probably about 48 hours at this point in time from when we actually get your test. When you complete your test, you get an email notification that your test results are ready, and then there's a login process for you to get your results. And my office is helping, so if for some reason you haven't gotten your results or don't know what's happening with your results, you can reach out to my office. So far we have had no positive tests, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. because I don't know that that will last forever. But if that does happen, the university would reach out to you to let you know, and our public health, Department of Public Health at Fitchburg, City of Fitchburg would also be reaching out to you to begin the contact tracing process. And the university would begin conversations with you to look at putting you in self-isolation and figuring out how that self-isolation process is going to work for you, and then how that will work, in terms of your academic commitments as well. So just to let you know what's happening with testing.
Great. Thank you, Mary Beth. There's a couple questions here, and I don't know who would be the one that would take this one, but there's a couple questions in regards to the rec center in the gym, in regards to if it's going to be open, and if so, what are the regulations, and if not, when will it open?
Yes, we are very hopeful that the rec center will be open. Not right away. It's going to be a few weeks. We're going to see how things settle out. But they've been working hard all summer to follow the guidance for gyms that has come out from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It'll be different than it was before in that people are going to have to make reservations to use a particular piece of equipment. We've de-densified the equipment, spread some things out in the cardio room, the weights, all of that. There'll be some things that we're not able to do now. There's like not going to be open courts to be able to play basketball and that sort of thing because of the high risk of the transmission of COVID. So more information will be coming out about that in great detail. Also know that when we first open the recreation center, it's going to be only open to students, not to faculty and staff, and not to other guests from off campus. We're starting only with the students as the priority. We'll see how it goes. And if we can open it up further, we will. But our first priority is the students. I would say it's going to be 2 or 3 more weeks before we open it. But as things settle, watch your email for more information.
Okay, so a few questions in relation to housing, and these might be a bit more specific in nature. So, but I think I might clear the air with some general questions. One is, do I need to sign up for a time to use the sink or shower?
No, you do not. However, keep in mind, especially for our first year students, you had a floor meeting with your resident assistant last night at about 8 o'clock. And one of the things that your resident assistant introduced to you was the assigned living space agreement. And so with that communication, talked about the use of the bathrooms and how they work, the family unit, etc. Especially in Russell Hall and Hurley He Hall, there will be signage up just to help support you in those traditional floor environments, letting you know which rooms are assigned to what bathrooms. Those went up last night. In addition, your resident assistant discussed with you the electronic room condition report. That report has been edited this year to also include your assigned bathroom, because all of our bathrooms have room numbers in the residence hall. So it's very easy for us to just add that number to your room condition report to help support you knowing which bathroom you have been assigned to. But you do not have an assigned sink or an assigned shower, just the bathroom itself.
Thank you. And the part 2 to the housing questions that we have is, am I allowed to set up a TV in a shared common room space?
You are. With that being said, we definitely encourage you to continue to practice, social distancing, face covering where appropriate, etc., in those assigned spaces that may have more of a communal touch point. Remember, just to wipe down various high touch areas, etc., as often as possible. So basically make sure that you're supporting yourself in those assigned spaces as you move forward with, we try to live as normal as possible within the restraints within the conditions that we have. So just make sure you do those types of things. But yes, you can engage in your communal spaces and do things such as share TVs, etc.
There are quite a few questions that are coming in from our commuters, and like I said, there's a lot of them. But what we'll do is just to let you all know that if you will keep an eye, for you that are commuters, keep an eye on your Fitchburg State email account. We will be sending out probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning a commuter handbook that will hopefully answer a lot of the questions that you may have in regards to where you can park, what color the lots are, maps, so on and so forth. So we will be sending that out through a PDF, and that will be going out, like I said, either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Mary Beth, another question back to you in regards to mail. We have a few questions here in regards to about mailboxes. Will that continue to stay? And how do we know what our mailing address is if we're going to get stuff from our family and friends?
Sure. So yes, we still do have mailboxes, and the student mail room is located in Mara Commons. Student mail room will be opening beginning on Wednesday. But in the meantime, if mail is coming to you from off campus, mail packages, probably packages, we actually have a parcel locker system that is right outside the Mara Commons. And any first class mail that is coming to you, or any parcels that are coming to you, are being placed in those parcel lockers, and you are being sent a notification through your email that you have a parcel to pick up. You can pick up those parcels at any time, and it is a no contact system. You go over, you basically show your the invite or the notification that you are picking up a parcel. The parcel locker will actually open itself once you sign in for that. And then you can grab your materials out of there, close up the locker, and you are all set. For those of you that would like a traditional mailbox, starting the 3rd, you can go to the student mailroom, which is open 3 to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and sign up for a mailbox, and we will give you assign a combination to you, and that mailbox and mailroom is open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. So you can go in at any time then and check your mail. So just to let you know that those are the two options. In terms of a mailing address, you should be using your name at Fitchburg State University. The street address is 319 Highland Avenue, Fitchburg, Mass. 01420. And if you forget that address, there is actually a mail services website on the university website, and those details are on there also. So if you send packages or materials to that address, whether or not you have a mailbox or we just put it into the parcel locker, that is the correct address to send any materials to.
Okay, this is a question related to club sports and athletics. Just a general question on how club sports and athletic programs are going to be operating this semester.
Hank, do you want to take the piece about the club sports? He may be engaged in, oh, there he is. That's good.
I'm here. Yes, I'm monitoring several things at once. So yes, I'm Hank Parkinson and the Associate Dean for Students, and really great to be on here as well. I've been listening in. So right now, club sports are put on hold. They are considered or listed as high risk. So we have lacrosse club, we have rugby, we have gymnastics. We had a newly formed co-ed ice hockey. So they are put on hold right now. And then as we get further guidance, once we can allow them to come together to practice and condition and or compete, we'll make sure we'll be in touch with the students that are running those organizations. So that's where we're at with those clubs.
Thank you very much. And I can field the athletic question with what we know so far. The MASCAC, which is our conference, has decided to not do any fall sports. The jury is still out on winter sports, though we know they won't start in this semester. They may yet happen starting in January. That decision has not been made. Our athletes will still, of all sports, fall, winter, and spring will be able to practice so far and do workouts in a very moderated way. It's going to be very particular to reduce the contact and include social distancing and reduce the risk. But our athletes will be practicing with each other and working out with each other, as I said, in a very moderated way. We're hopeful that we're going to be able to have winter and maybe spring sports, and it's even under consideration that we might maybe do some of the fall sports in the spring. But it's all really up in the air, and it's going to depend on the arc of the COVID coronavirus. But that's where we stand at the moment.
Great. I have a question here. Will the pool be open this semester?
No, we don't have a pool at Fitchburg State any longer.
This question is about starting a new club. The process for starting a new club requires getting signatures. What will that look like if you would like to start a new club this semester but aren't able to get physical signatures?
I guess I'll jump in. That is a fantastic question, and we're good. We will work out a process for avoiding that. So we will be in touch with that. I'm going to be honest. We've been overturning and talking about all kinds of things that we need to get ready, and that's one thing that I don't think we decided on. But we will not put you at risk to try to get signatures. We will figure something alternative out in our process and communicate that out soon. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Will commuters arriving to campus have to pass a temperature or other health check before going to classes?
Everyone who's coming to campus every day should be doing the self-check. There won't be anybody checking them in to a building. So if you recall, the university sent out a return to campus checklist and guidance for our students, and that includes both residents and commuter students. And they should be on a daily basis monitoring their own health, which includes, and Laura may have to help me on this one, but checking to make sure that you don't have a temperature, shortness of breath, or other kinds of similar COVID symptoms. If you do or are experiencing those symptoms, then what we want you to do is stay home or stay in your residence hall, contact your primary care provider, review your conditions with that individual, make determinations about do you need a COVID test or not, or what their recommendations are. And if you're a student, you should contact the Student Affairs office also to let them know. If you're a resident student, you're going to definitely contact Student Affairs office also, because then we will begin review the process with you to take a look at whether or not we need to look at quarantine or other solutions as well in the residences, or if you go home for that. But yes, the goal is self-monitoring, and we are asking each and every member of our campus to do that every day.
I actually have a follow-up for that one. If you do not feel good one day, maybe due to COVID, would you be reprimanded for missing class?
I don't know if Alberto wants to take that one, or
Sure. If you need to miss a class or more than one class, if you have to go to quarantine because of COVID or for any health other reason, we have established protocols by which the faculty member is informed, and then arrangements are made for you to be able to get your materials during that time. So that should not change because of COVID or non-COVID. And a matter of fact, we don't want anybody to feel as if you're going to get punished and come to class if you're not feeling slightly unwell. We need to err on the side of caution. And if you even feel a little bit unwell, then communicate with your faculty and arrangements will be made.
Okay, this might be a question for Mary Beth. What are the guidelines for using the shuttle in terms of capacity, and what does the cleaning schedule for the shuttle look like?
Oh, that's a good one. So the shuttle will continue to run its regular schedule on a daily basis, and that schedule should be posted online and on the parking site as well. Hopefully, Medley can back me up on that. But basically, it runs typically, I want to say 6:30 in the morning to midnight on class days, Monday through Thursday, and then some reduced hours on Friday and on Sunday. Um, Expectation related to riding the shuttle is that you're wearing a mask. So you will be expected to put that on. As of right now, based on the guidance that our provider has been following, there are not ridership limits on the shuttle, primarily due to the short duration of the transit experience. So you, to a certain extent, will want to monitor that to make sure that you feel comfortable in terms of riding the shuttle bus. Again, because of the de-densification activities that we've done compared to the past, probably ridership will be substantially lower than we have seen in the past. So there will be less opportunities for shuttles to feel overly crowded. And in terms of cleaning on the shuttle bus, again, those are being cleaned on a daily basis. And I need to confirm whether or not they're doing any in-between services, and I can share that with folks as well. So that's an excellent question. Thank you.
I guess our next question is if my parents or one of my siblings, and I'm going to expand this to, because we have quite a few students with us now that have children, develop symptoms, am I required to stay home?
Again, probably we'd want to have you reach out to the student affairs office so that we could assess kind of the circumstances. I would also, again, encourage the student to reach out to their healthcare provider to assess the conditions. And if you are, if others in your household are either in quarantine or in isolation, it is likely that that expectation would then apply to you, but a lot of that will be determined based on the contact tracing and public health guidance that is received at that time. Laura, I don't know if you had other comments you wanted to add to that.
You hit all of the points that I was going to say.
One question is, what will in-person engagement with clubs and organizations look like this semester, and when might we expect to be able to have in-person engagement?
Are you looking for me to respond to that, Joe?
Yes.
Thank you. So right now, it's going to be mostly virtual, meaning using either Google Meets and/or Zoom for meetings. We are allowing e-boards, so small groups, to meet in rooms that have been designated in a campus center and throughout campus that allow a certain amount of capacity using social distancing, of course, and face coverings. As far as events, for the month of September, as we get started here, we are offering virtual experiences. And as time goes on, we're going to reevaluate based on information and whether we could start having some small gatherings and or not, depending on the information that's given to us or the progression of the virus as we go into the start of the semester. So that is the plan at this point. So look out, some really neat and new, exciting virtual opportunities will be offered. And we are encouraging our clubs and organizations to be active and still engage their membership through an online virtual community, and that we know it's not the same experience, but we are going to be there to offer that experience to bring students together with common interests.
Mr. Medley, I have one here for you. It's in regards to possibly some of our students may have paid for their parking permits. The question is when will they receive the refund for that parking permit?
No problem. We're still working out the logistics of how that financial adjustment will move forward, but rest assured that that will occur.
Okay, another question. What if we know that we are symptomatic? Do we need to tell student affairs if we are experiencing COVID symptoms?
Yes.
Boom.
And do not leave your residence hall room, and do not leave your off-campus apartment. Call us, call your provider, then we'll go from there.
Our next question, oh, hold on, it just flew away from me. Do you feel that COVID affects the social life of students on campus? I ask this question because extroverts like myself enjoy the social life, and talking and taking that away can affect an individual greatly. Do you have any ideas of how to stay social yet safe at the same time? That's a good question.
I would ask my OSD folks to respond to that. I mean, you've got tons of solutions about ways students can engage virtually. And there are ways to gather safely outside of the residence halls, you know, in spaces in Hammond or in classrooms that are not being used. You just need to do it in a socially distanced and face covered way. That's possible in the residence halls as well. You just have to meet the lounge size, and you're limited in the residence hall. You're limited to only your family unit. But the beginning of that question is, you know, will COVID affect the social lives of students? Yes, yes. And my social life and everybody else's social life. There's no getting around it. I mean, college is designed to be bringing people together and engaging in small numbers of people and large numbers of people. That's what college is about in many ways, in your classes, outside of the classes. So that's really different this year. But nonetheless, I think we're getting some good practice since last March about how to stay connected and engage with each other. And Fitchburg State has created the space in such a way that both formal and informal opportunities exist for that. Medley talked before about how you engage informally in the lounges and in the kitchens and all of that. And we've seen some examples from the Office of Student Development folks about clubs and organizations and both formal and informal. I don't know, especially OSD, but also Medley, if you all have anything that you want to contribute beyond what I've said.
Within housing, I would say please make sure that you're staying connected with your resident assistant. Um, Make sure that if you're in a residential learning community, that you're participating in the activities and meetings and your networking. Even though there are a lot of limitations, there are also a lot of ways to connect, to network, to build community. So just make sure you're not missing out on those opportunities. In addition, if you're having challenges with connecting, once again, that's why your resident assistant is there. That's why the building supervisor is present, and we can help support you with trying to guide and facilitate that process with you. So there's a lot of opportunities. We just have to make sure that we're reaching out for them.
I think to add to that, we just want everyone to be smart. You know, we want everyone. It's not saying that we can't hang out. It's not saying that you can't meet your friends and stuff. We just have to follow the policies and procedures that the state has set out in this time. You know, wearing your face mask, social distancing. We want you all to, and I'm kind of stealing this from some places, protect the nest. You know, we at Fitchburg State, we're a huge, huge family here, and we will do everything in our power to make sure that we protect each other. And we ask that of you. We ask that of our faculty, our staff, our guests, our students, our alumni. So don't be stupid. We want you to be a part of the campus, but we also want you to protect the nest and protect everything that we believe here, because your education here at Fitchburg State is going to be one of the best things that you'll ever received here. I'm an alumni from here, and Joe's an alumni from here, so we know what this place is about. So just work with us. It's extraordinary times. We know that, you know that, and you're still going to have a great education. You're going to still have a great time here. We just have to do things just a little differently as we move forward.
And I'm going to make a plug. You've probably seen a lot of campuses across the country who are reporting, oh, there was a big group of, however many students who went to some kind of a social event. And then that became a cluster of cases. And it maybe sometimes even made the school decide that they needed to reverse their decision about being on campus. I am begging you to make sure that when you are socializing with people, follow all of the guidance that we've been talking about. Do not go to events off campus or create events on campus that have a lot of people who are not following those guidelines, because we are like other campuses. And if we get a significant number of cases, we are likely to have to change our decision. We don't want to. We want to have an on-campus semester. And that is largely in your hands based on the choices that you and the other students make. So please, please follow the guidance. And like what Shane said, don't be dumb.
Okay, switching gears here for another question. Should we prepare to eat only in our dorms? Because of masks, I assume we can't eat in public spaces.
There are definitely places where you are not allowed to eat, and that includes classrooms and in the library. However, you are able to eat elsewhere on campus. So we've got a number of those kind of informal areas where folks can sit, hang out, study throughout our buildings on campus. And you are able to remove your mask in order to eat. So I just want to be clear that you're not restricted to only eating in your residence hall. So we have a number of picnic tables around on campus. If you prefer to eat outside, you can eat in your residence hall. There are also spaces. So the signage that talks about capacity will also clearly indicate whether or not it is acceptable for you to eat in those spaces or not. So just look for that sign and that'll give you the guidance.
Mary Beth, we have another question for you. This is a longer one, but I'm gonna try to cut it down here a little bit. If you get an email stating, oh goodness, hold on. If you get an email stating that your book advance voucher is available, A, what does that mean? And then B, how do you go about using it?
Absolutely. So for our new students who have not been introduced to this, if you have essentially what we believe to be is an excess in aid, financial aid that is going to exceed the cost of your attendance for this fall, we actually make some of that aid available to you to pay for your books and course materials at the bookstore. So essentially it's an advance. It's an advance on the financial aid refund that you would be receiving later this fall semester. If you would like to take advantage of those funds, you can actually either A, go online or go to the bookstore on campus, which is located in the Hammond Hall. And there is a tender type called Book Advance, and you can indicate that you'd like to pay using that method, and they will deduct that from your financial aid refund. And so that essentially you may have little or no out-of-pocket cost. So again, you're using your financial aid to help cover those costs, and that just reduces your refund at a later date. But that's all very simple to use and take advantage of.
I'm going to bust right in for a second because I'm noticing the time, and Dr. Cardea only has about 5 minutes left. He needs to run to his next meeting at 12:30. So I'm encouraging folks who have academically focused questions or questions about tutoring or career that they should ask those now so that we can capture his expertise.
So while we're waiting for those questions to come in here for you, Dr. Cardea, what I want to let everyone know is that we have all these questions here. There's about 69, 70 or so questions here. What we will be doing is we will be sharing these questions with your orientation leaders as a way for them to express some of your questions and get those answered. The other thing that we plan on doing too is we're going to be creating a kind of like an orientation part 2, where we will be putting these questions and stuff on our orientation website, and we will then answer those questions for you too. So if we didn't get to your question, don't worry, we will get them answered for you either through our orientation leaders or through the website after we update it. So, but again, if some of you were a little hesitant at asking a question, feel free to reach out to your orientation leader because they've been trained. They know all the answers. If they don't know the answer, they will find it for you and get it for you. So, that's for those of you who haven't had your question answered.
Also, student affairs at fitchburgstate.edu, housing at fitchburgstate.edu, and provost at fitchburgstate.edu.
And we did have one come in. How do I become a tutor?
Fantastic question. I would right now the tutoring center, it is open, and we'll be providing most of its services online and remote, and they have a very robust approach to that. So I would approach the office. They will also be open. And ask them to go through the process of applying. There is an application process, and they are always looking for new tutors. So please let them know that you're interested. And they're located in the 3rd floor of the Hammond building.
Mary Beth, I got another one for you. You have been popular this morning. So the question is in regards to food and drink, in regards to classrooms and some other spaces. Are we allowed to bring drink and food to our classrooms?
You should not. We are asking and expecting both our instructional staff, so our faculty and instructors, and our students not to eat and drink in the classroom. I know faculty have asked that question about what about when they need to have a drink or something like that. We're making the recommendation that they take a few minutes, take a break, let folks go out of the classroom and get a drink if they need to. And again, it's a little bit different than maybe the high school experience where you might have had to raise your hand to leave the classroom. You absolutely need to leave the classroom. And Alberto, Dr. Cardea can probably answer this, but there's a little bit more of a free flow. So if you need to excuse yourself from the classroom, that is typically an okay behavior. But for classes, you should plan to either eat or drink before you arrive or after you depart.
Yes, absolutely. That was absolutely correct. The faculty have been, are understanding the circumstances in which they're teaching and in which you're learning, and will be flexible to make this work.
So not really academic related. I don't even know who's the one to answer this question, but what are the rules around biking and or skateboarding across campus and to class?
They have not changed, except I would recommend wearing a face covering.
We have a question here about what are some places to get jobs on and off campus. I can answer that question in regards to jobs. There are a lot of jobs that are on campus. A lot of our offices employ students to work in our office. Like our office, we have roughly about 45 or 50 of them. Chartwell's is another big one. The Recreation Center. So there are a lot of them on campus. And the way you do that is you just visit our human resources website. Any office who has a position on campus will have it listed. And then if you meet the requirements and submit a great resume and have a great interview, we'll try to get you hired. Anyone else have anything with that?
Well, I was going to add that the Career Services has a new platform called Handshake. And those, while it's the HR site is very specific to jobs on campus, Handshake also has part-time positions and internships off campus. And you can access that through by looking for our Career Services Center on their website. And then you can, I'll do a full plug there for it. You can upload your information. You can upload your resume and some of your experiences, and that way employers can also look for you as well, because it's a site that the employers also use.
And if I can add in regards to the resident assistant position, you do not receive direct pay, so it's not a student employee position, but it is a student leader position that has some very direct benefits in regards to housing and meal plan. So just watch out for on your email. We will send communication out when we open up, probably late October, early November, for our spring hiring. So just watch out for your email if you're interested in the resident assistant position.
I have another employment plug as well. So I oversee the Campus Center student employment. So we have, as Shane said, 45 to 50 positions that we have here in Hammond. We won't be hiring this semester, but please keep an eye out for future semesters because there's definitely a wealth of opportunities here in the Campus Center. Also, if you had a good experience with your orientation program and your orientation leader, which I hope you did, we will be hiring to fill those spots again towards the end of this semester, perhaps early next semester. So if you are interested in providing this type of experience and support for next year's incoming class, keep an eye out for that opportunity as well.
And I think we have time for maybe one or two more quick questions here. Is the Wallace Civic Center open for hockey right now? And let me tie also that into what about Elliott Fields in regards to the track? Can our students use that also?
I don't believe that the ice has been put down yet in the Wallace Civic Center. But if it is, in such time when it is, you will see some communications about whether it's available for open skate or that kind of thing. We have not discussed what that looks like yet, but as far as I know, there's no ice down yet anyway. So the answer for that is no. It's an excellent question about whether folks can use Elliott Field. We have had Elliott Field closed all summer because the university was not open to external folks to use. I will have the recreation department send some communication out about whether people are able to informally, work out, run in a socially distanced way or work out in other ways out there, but we haven't discussed it recently.
All right, it looks like we are caught up on the questions, unless we've missed a few, but I think that is the majority of it.
Joe, if you don't mind, I'll jump in real quick. For all the students are hopefully listening, the next stream or the next session is at 2 o'clock. So it's a different link. All the links have been provided through via email. We're going to be resending them out actually pretty soon as a reminder. And then there'll be a link to the session and the form to do the same process here, some Q&A, and then listening and chiming into the presenter. And these also are recorded and will be posted very shortly onto the orientation website, and we'll also direct you all via email to the website where you could access these recordings if you missed it or you just wanted to catch up on something. And again, like Shane said, we're going to give us a little bit of time, but we'll go through all your questions and come up with answers and put a Q&A on our website as well for all these sessions. So we'll get that up as soon as possible to help you through your transition. And know that we're here to support and help you. If you need anything, please call us. We're here to help you with your transition. And it's just an unusual, unprecedented time to come to college. And we know that and recognize that. And we want to help you through your experience. Thank you to our panelists today for joining us and helping us out. And thank you, Shane and Joe, for moderating. And you did a great job here. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I'd like to echo, thank you all so much for the excellent questions. We know that it's your first time in college, so it maybe seems typical to you, but it's different than you might have expected. And so we're happy to answer as many questions as we can. Remember, housing at fitchburgstate.edu, provost at fitchburgstate.edu, and student affairs at fitchburgstate.edu. Great resources to get further questions answered. And if you're not sure where to turn, that student affairs at fitchburgstate.edu is the best place to come. And if we can't answer the question, we'll get you connected with whoever you need. Thank you so much again to the Office of Student Development for putting this together. And panelists, you are rock stars. The efforts that you and your teams have been doing this summer are extraordinarily impressive. And I think Fitchburg State is in as good a position as we can be to set ourselves up for a successful semester. So thank you, panelists, for you and your team. Thank you, everyone else. And I look forward to seeing you around campus with our masks on. Bye, everyone.